Neuroscience shows that bilateral movement steadies their breath, melts stress, and brings the body back to calm. The fastest way to peace isn't talking through it, it's walking through it. I found an exercise recently with my 5-year-old. That's what the research says here too is, your child is mid-meltdown, screaming, sobbing, unreachable. You try to talk them down, but words only make it worse, right? So you do what most parents never think to do. You just walk. Their body does what their mind couldn't in that moment. Neuroscientist Stephen Porges studied how the nervous system finds safety after stress. It's a cry for safety. A walk after a meltdown isn't distraction, it's regulation. Your child's body already knows how to recover. It just needs movement to lead the way. As you walk, that movement restores balance across the brain. Each step signals safety and stress hormones begin to fall. Just
Welcome to Truth Disorder.
Welcome to Truth Disorder,
where we tell you truths about our disorder.
Yeah.
I have ADHD.
Goodness gracious.
And
in a world full of lies, there's only one truth.
And that's here at Truth Disorder.
Question everything else.
That's true.
So, got a couple things I want to talk about personally. Not personally in my life, but I guess hopefully it doesn't affect me personally. But just some I want to do the weekly BlackRock update.
BlackRock update.
I want to do.
You almost slipped there. You almost said Black Sock update.
You're right.
Gotcha.
You caught me slipping.
What's on that iPad screen over there?
Not that. Not any black socks.
That's banned in Texas.
So that's crazy because I almost done so bad. So the BlackRock we want to do your weekly BlackRock update. Also, we're gonna have a new segment called the hashtag Fuck Larry Fink. I feel like that's pretty essential now that he's in charge of the WF. We'll tell you what he's got going on. An interesting statistic on abortion. Actually, and very ironic statistic as well. Not to make light of it, but we'll point that out.
Does it have to do with Tylenol?
No, not this time. And then, of course, our obligatory ReadySetParent moment. Why not to join the meltdown with your kids when they're melting down?
I don't want to interrupt you and get
That's all I got.
flamed in the comments about interrupting you about.
No, it's good.
Why don't you explain to me what...
Dude, it's a charming quality of yours. Go ahead. Do you.
Well, I wanted to talk about AWS today, too. So we'll probably plug this in.
No, well, luckily,
AWS outage. I mean, a lot of people overlooked.
It just depends on how you talk about it, because I did bring a pillow, so...
well, let me just talk about the...
Hey, cheers to 10K.
Back when I was a soccer player in high school.
Back when I played soccer in high school.
All right, but seriously.
Did I tell you I worked for Big Tech?
Yeah. Circuit City.
Circuit City, bro.
Is that Big Tech?
No.
Bro, I thought you were going to say like fucking Google Fiber or something.
Hey,
He's like,
here's
Microsoft.
Cheers to a long road. We have the Camarena, or in my mother language we call it Camarena. And then my mother
roll that R, bro.
The Crown Royal.
Crown Royal.
So I'm rocking this tequila. We got Crown on this side, but we were celebrating our finally hitting 10,000 followers. So cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
Cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
And let's keep doing the dang thing.
We got our executive producer sitting in on the show today.
Yeah, we got a special guest.
DOM.
Charles is having truck issues again.
Yeah, so we need you to support the pod. We need you to go like, share, subscribe, comment down below.
Knowing Charles, even if we were to make like $1 million on a podcast, he would spend it on something he didn't need and still not have a truck.
Like jeans with holes in the knee?
No, because he only has one of those pairs and that's what he always wears. We're not talking shit.
Maybe it's like a...
Is it talking shit if it's true?
He'd have like a gigantic encyclopedia.
Yeah, it's not like you watch
Or like
Watch out now. This is like Truth Disorder after hours.
Yeah,
dude.
it's not gossip because you could watch the podcast, Charles, but you don't. So,
damn, just flame him after like 5 minutes because then he's like, oh, I'll check the first 5 and then the last 5 to see if I missed anything.
Every time somebody misses, we should drop like a little nugget in there of shit talking about that person and see if they
talk about one of their childhood traumas.
Oh fuck. So that's when my dad really slapped me.
Yeah, we covered that last week.
Slapped the shit out of me. Yeah, we had like 15 minutes of laughing hysterically.
And my childhood trauma.
David's childhood trauma.
Jesus.
Wild.
Hugs and tears.
Really went down.
It's crazy how many people can relate to it, but then you're like also sad about it at the end of the day. You're like, oh God, my dad did that.
I mean, the most interesting about your situation is it's cool that you can talk about it. Like,
no, that's fair. That's fair.
I will throw it out there. Most
That's
people
fair.
hide that shit in, like, they freaking bury that as deep as they can possibly bury it.
You know,
And they lock the shovels up in across the pond.
that's true. It's not the easiest thing to talk about, but I think now that I'm like 36, it's just you get over it and you move on. Like a buddy of mine, he's my dad's pastor, like Bible study leader, and he told me, he was like, you only have one life to live, and he's living his first life too. People make mistakes, totally understandable. You know, you just kind of get over it.
And now you can take a punch.
Yeah. Well, and what's so wild is not just taking a punch and
You're like, oh yeah, life? Have you met my dad?
yeah, my dad thought I could take a punch too, literally. Like,
Now that I think about it, I should have used that in all the preemptive fights I had when I was growing up. It was like, my dad hits harder than you.
don't fuck with my
Drop
dad.
your
My dad
pants
hits hard. my dad hits hard as shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what to do.
You know what's wild though is like, I mean, and I say that in the most respectful way to you, David, is that the mentality of like raising our children to be able to talk to us nowadays is kind of like gone out the window. Like those family values where you actually talk to your kids respectfully and make sure that they understand like, hey, I am a comfort zone. Speak to me, talk to me, pour your heart and soul out to me when you need to. That connection between parents and child has been broken.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw a video the other day.
Because parents are still children having children.
Right.
And they're like in their 30s.
Right.
And just still haven't evolved or matured.
Brooke sent me a video the other day. She sends me all this parenting stuff, like what we want to be like, right? And I don't even know how it would be because I'm not a parent.
It's wild.
But she sent me one that it was this South African dad talking to his son. They were like working on a dresser, like refinishing it or something like that, and the son had lied, and the dad he wasn't mad. He was disappointed, obviously, but it was like one of the things he said hit me really hard. It was like, the best gift that you can give me in this life is your honesty. That's all we have as men is our honesty. You can grow up and do whatever in life, but as long as you're honest in your heart, you'll have given me the best gift ever. And I'm like, oof. That hits because like that's what I would want from my son and my daughter, is to be able to come to me with it, whatever, come to me for whatever reason, as long as they're honest. Yeah. Right. I don't know how I would react in the moment, like drinking and driving, or like I got arrested, but like as long as you don't lie to me and tell me the truth, I'm always going to be there for you. Like that's what I would hope that I would react.
Well, and I think that was one of the 12 fights worth having that you talked about last week. Is that we have to, and it might not even be on that list, but I feel like that's one of the battles that most parents have with their kids is getting their kid to open up to them.
Well, because they mirror the meltdown. This is actually a great segue to get into the parent segment of this.
What? How did we?
That's crazy.
That's crazy. What? Did we plan that? We just talked about it and we got the daddy issues.
We're getting better at that.
Dude, we're getting good at this.
Oh, shit.
We have a podcast?
Does 10K make us official?
Some guy in the background's going to be like,
official.
fucking
God,
losers.
these guys are so...
Unsubscribe, unfollow.
Dude, I'm going to keep following him because I hate my dad too. But like, God,
he must be what'd you call that one time? You remember the beta bitch?
that was a different crash out for different reasons, and we'll get into the abortion.
That was actually crazy when you were like, "Yeah, you beta bitch." I was like, "Oh my god!"
But I'm passionate about the downfall of our society because of beta cuck males that can't tell a woman no.
Yeah, but I mean, I point that out because that is one of the
And I say that from experience because I was that for a couple years of my life.
Because
I paid for it.
I think that's one of the 12 fights worth having. I know, like within our family household, I'm constantly pestering the hell out of my child to open up to me, like, hey, how was school? And, you always get that pushback from your kid, right? Like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. No, like, tell me about it. What happened? Like, you have to, as a parent, literally dig deep into your child's emotions and make sure that they're able to express them with you so that you could have that connection with them, but also make them feel comfortable. I think, like, on ReadySetParent, I read something about it. They also say that, like, a loud kid is not a bad kid. A loud kid either A, has excess energy remaining from like their activities throughout the day, or B, it just means that they're comfortable around you to actually be loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough because you want them to be able to open up, and if you're not asking them how they're dealing with their emotions, and they're dealing with it by themselves, and they don't have the 30 plus
Emotional
years
maturity.
of experience on how to deal with that stuff. I mean, when I was younger, I was bullied all the time, and I just didn't have the emotional capacity to deal with it.
No.
And it wasn't until my dad I went to my parents to try and figure it out, and I just could never figure it out. So I mean, I was one of those kids that just had to deal with it on his own.
Yeah.
Right, I just figured it out, and that sucks, man. Because you know that so many kids are out there right now that are just dealing with shit,
It's lonely.
and it's super.
And then you
super
combine
lonely.
you combine AI with that, it gets only so much worse because now
Oh my God.
now these kids have two options: either have this entire relationship with their phone, their screen, or they learn how to fortify their own narcissistic characteristics in order to seem like something else, and they fortify this ego that goes out and just becomes a parasite to society.
Yeah.
Well, and the problem with technology too, especially AI is going to tell that kid who is going through that dark place what they want to hear.
Yeah.
And a lot of that stuff and emotion that they're feeling at that present time isn't necessarily something that should be reflected or casted or reiterated to that adult, that adolescent.
I
right?
think I heard of a mom that's actually suing an AI company because the AI convinced her son to commit suicide.
Yeah,
That's
there is
crazy.
There is a
Really?
lawsuit about that.
Within a year and a half ago, I think it was.
Yeah, I saw that same article, I believe. I don't know who posted it, maybe the Daily Insider or something like that, but there is a
You
lawsuit.
would think that there's some sort of like
The Daily
fail-safe
Insider
against
sounds like
something like that, right? Like
So hold on. He had an earnest moment, I think.
Sorry.
I think I did have an earnest moment.
Daily Insider sounds like a newspaper in Batman.
No, it's literally a publication.
you could do the Daily
It's the Daily
Insider.
Insider.
I was reading the Daily Bugle one day and it was saw this crazy story. Peter
Little-
Parker broke his testicle.
Peter Parker.
Oh, bro, I literally start to Google ChatGPT convinces man convinces man he's a superhero. That's okay. That's weird.
Sheesh.
Got it.
But yeah, there was a lawsuit. I did see the
Yeah.
lawsuit about the mom that was suing because her son committed suicide after reading his engagement with AI. And that's one of the scariest things with AI is that it will tell you what you want to hear. Right?
What's
Like-
all the prompts, right?
Yeah, I wonder what the kid was, what type of conversation that kid was having with the AI for it to be like, yeah, just do it.
I mean, I wouldn't. I don't want to assume, but it would probably be something like, am I correct in my thinking?
Is it
Like,
normal to feel this?
Yes.
Would it be easier to give
And what's
up?
crazy is that sources from other people's like blog posts and
Yeah.
all this shit, and it's not like medical journals,
Yeah.
right? It's all just people putting stuff out on the internet. Unless he did like deep research on it, but I mean, I think you have to pay for it.
Depression is
Yeah.
a demon, bro. Depression is a demon, and some would argue that AI is a demon.
But
So-
talking about ReadySetParent, you had
Yeah, I mean, going along the lines of when it comes to conflict with your kid and just what you say isn't just what you say. It isn't your persistence. It's how you are persistent. It's how you say things. When your child has a meltdown, you have to skip the lecture, go for a walk. Because neuroscience shows that bilateral movement steadies their breath, melts stress, and brings the body back to calm. The fastest way to peace isn't talking through it, it's walking through it. I found an exercise recently with my 5-year-old, or my 3-year-old actually. She's freaking out, and I ask her, I say, hey, what are you feeling? And she's 3, dude. Like, she's like, nah, like,
toys.
is this sad?
Yeah.
Is this angry? Is this what? And so we're labeling feelings now, but it also it validates it, but then it also minimizes it a little bit so that she can actually identify what she's feeling and then learn how to cope and manage it through certain steps, depending on what that actual feeling is. That's not my idea. That's from some doctor that I found and started doing that.
And you know what's wild too is like so our son, we took him out of public school and he goes to, I mean, he's still in a public school, but it's like a public charter, so it's more private than anything. One of the biggest downfalls I saw with the educational system in today's society is that most of those public educations don't teach kids about the different emotions anymore. Everything's just blanketed. Right, and that's the one nice thing about this school is that they actually teach the kids each emotion. Like, how are you feeling?
That's awesome.
Right, like what are you feeling right now? What's your heart telling you? Like, what's in your head? And now he knows, like, I'm sad,
Yeah.
right? Like,
The earlier you can do that, the better. And that's what the research says here too, is, your child is mid-meltdown, screaming, sobbing, unreachable. You try to talk them down, but words only make it worse, right? So you do what most parents never think to do. You just walk. Their body does what their mind couldn't in that moment. Neuroscientist Stephen Porges studied how the nervous system finds safety after stress. It's a cry for safety. A walk after a meltdown isn't distraction, it's regulation. Your child's body already knows how to recover. It just needs movement to lead the way. As you walk, that movement restores balance across the brain. Each step signals safety, and stress hormones begin to fall. Calm returns not from reasoning or explaining, but from the body finding its way back to peace. It's all about balance. This isn't new science, it's ancient wiring. For those thousands of years, humans have always regulated through rhythm. Rocking crying babies, swaying when stressed, walking to think. Your nervous system doesn't just prefer movement, it's built for it. And when you walk together, your bodies start to communicate. Your footsteps find the same rhythm. Your breathing falls into sync. Your pace becomes one. You're not just calming them, you're co-regulating. And I'll add on to that at a spiritual level, which is the most powerful level. Think about what you do when you're anxious. You pace, you move, you can't sit still. Your kids work the same way. When they move, they're not avoiding the feeling, they're processing it. Movement does something stillness can't. As you walk, your eyes naturally scan side to side, activating both halves of your brain. It's the same mechanism used in trauma therapy to calm the body and rewire stress. The difference? Therapists guide it intentionally. Your body does it instinctively. When the next meltdown hits, and we're almost done, keep it simple. Let's go outside. No lecture, no processing yet. Walk in silence or point out what you see. Look at that bird. Feel the wind. You're not teaching them how to think. You're showing them how calm feels. Don't rush the process. 5 minutes, 10, however long it takes. Let their nervous system finish resetting. The conversation will come, but only after the calm. 2 more. And if they refuse the walk, go anyway. Carry them if you need to. The movement works even if they're protesting. This is actually getting me emotional. Within minutes, they'll shift. You just don't need their cooperation. You just need their proximity. We think kids settle by talking it through, but peace doesn't start in the mind. It starts in the body. After a meltdown, your words can't reach what your presence can. Walk beside them first. The calm will do the talking. And as a fellow person that has daddy issues, that hits hard as fuck.
It does.
Yeah.
But we have so much information that our parents didn't, and I think that's the beauty of forgiveness. Because if we could forgive somebody that we put so much weight into, we can go out into the world and forgive people that, we don't know at all.
Sure.
And influence them. Be the light.
I think it's hard to communicate your emotions as well when you never learned how to communicate
Regulate
them. Yeah, and or even tell them to, like, your parents, right? It's interesting that you're bringing this up because, like, how is that possible? How can I think I even struggle with it in my relationships today is explaining how I'm feeling. And it isn't until, like, this current relationship, my wife, that we're able to really communicate, and I'm like, yeah, this is making me feel this way, and I don't know why, but this is what's happening. Communicating that is extremely hard to do when you don't know how to communicate it, right? Or even, like you said, regulate it. What am I supposed to do? So I can only imagine what a child is going through, a 3-year-old is going through, and trying to figure out, how do I tell mommy and daddy that I'm angry that this happened?
I've seen so many therapists in my life. Hate to admit that, but I always felt
you shouldn't say that. I don't. Well, today in this day and age, I think that it's very important to talk to somebody that can help you understand yourself.
Well, most of them, I hated them. Because
Fair.
Like my parents, they had their issues, and so they put me in therapy instead of actually being the ones to, co-regulate me, if you will. And man, it just didn't. I was able to kind of like figure out how to lie my way out of that situation.
Sure.
How to paint things in a different way, which honestly didn't help me as an individual, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's. I always felt patronized when they'd be like, well, how are you feeling? You know?
Like you're almost being talked down to.
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason why I've never had therapy, and I've considered it because I want to regulate that stuff. ADHD has always been a problem with me.
Yeah.
I can't stop moving. I don't know why. It's obviously ADHD, but like I want to figure out how to best do that without needing Ritalin or Adderall or whatever new drug is out there that's going to slow me down and make me somebody who I'm not.
Nootropics.
Right? I don't want to do that.
Nootropics.
I don't know what that is.
They're just
Like natural.
They're like they're like psilocybin shrooms, but they can also be
they can be anything, lion's mane
Lion's
and all that
mane.
stuff.
You could also get vitamin supplements that have all that stuff.
So we've talked about
psychedelics.
methylene blue on the podcast.
You said it to me like last year sometime.
So there's something that's helped me stay above water when it comes to treating treatment-resistant depression. Mind you, I've been on Wellbutrin. I've done a hero dose of psilocybin under therapeutic care. I crutched THC, crutched Adderall for 10 years, and I think that actually was the devil, quite frankly. Tried it all.
What Adderall was?
Adderall. And what actually changed everything was I started mixing methylene blue by Nutricell, and there's a 3-step process. It's based on the research by Dr. Peter McCullough, who actually was lambasted and ostracized for his thoughts on COVID and all that stuff. Well, you see how that turned out, so he's been vindicated in that way. But his 3-step methylene blue pill situation, the first one has nattokinase and zeolites, and on top of methylene blue. And the reason for those first two is because it's been proven that it is effective in clearing out your cells. So when a lot of folks got the COVID vaccine, they introduced a spike protein into their cell system. And so what nattokinase and zeolites do, it's basically a free radical scavenger that gathers that and expels that from the system, thereby enhancing your heart health. That's why a lot of folks that are just like randomly dropping, having heart issues, yada, yada, yada. So I started with that, had the methylene blue. The methylene blue obviously is what is the nootropic. That's what helps me feel good. After I finished that bottle, I started step 2, and that has like the 6-7 other mushrooms that don't make you trip out.
6-7.
Yeah, and
6-7.
Fuck, I just did that. But in all seriousness,
the comment section is gonna be wild on that one.
The step 2, the methylene blue by Nutricell, legitimately, I take that and I combine that with everyday dose in the morning. And I am above water every single day that I take that. That heaviness just lifts.
I can only give a crazy, an example of real estate's really hard for somebody who's got ADHD. It's
also a superpower. ADHD
that's
is
true.
a superpower.
I found myself
the best
this morning.
realtors have the best managed ADHD.
Well, okay, that seems to be.
Processes.
We'll see, but. Like this morning, I was doing 6 things at once.
Yeah, that's
and
a
I
superpower.
think that early childhood without technology, and I mean we obviously had technology, but without the ease of access to technology, it was a crutch. Learning was impossibly hard. I mean, I'm getting my unmanned aircraft license right now, and doing that and hearing people on Discord last night was extremely hard because you would hear this conversation, you'd be like, oh, I've got a thought for that. I've got a thought for that.
That's why I can't listen
and so
to music with words when I'm studying.
All I can do is binaural beats.
Yeah.
You showed me that. Yeah. Or like lo-fi. That'll keep me mellow. But like
as soon
nowadays,
as the shit comes with like one recurring word, it's like calm. Calm.
But
and now I'm thinking about calm. Like, what am I doing?
What's interesting is to try and put it into words is like I got a monitor in front of me. I've got 4 different windows open, and I'm working on them. And then I also have my iPad and my phone, and then I hear a text message. So I go over here and I look at my Facebook, but I'm over here doing something on my email, and then I'm looking over at my follow-up boss doing something over here, and then I'm over here on my new HomeBuddy link, and I'm doing this, and it's just all at the same time.
Shameless plug.
All at the same time, I'm trying to juggle this, and it is extremely hard. To be able to do that as a child nowadays, we are festering a generation that is going to have extreme struggles.
Overly stimulated, neurodegenerated, unregulated, socially retarded. And I don't say that on a funny level, like completely mean that in a very clinical way. Just bots.
Socially distant.
So
Yes, absolutely.
So I got a question, because I mean I might have ADHD too, because I'm in the same way, but
Oh, with the bounce.
with the
Oh, it's
like, dude, technology gets in front of me. I'm watching something. I'm listening to here. I'm playing with my kid.
it's stimulation.
But what is like the natural stimulant of ADHD? Like, is there a natural aspect to it, or is it actually like a more like a mental, like genetic thing that that's
I don't
built
know,
into?
because I feel like there's more people coming out nowadays where it's like, oh yeah, I have ADHD. Oh, I have ADD. And it's like it's a norm. It's almost like autism. It's like this spectrum of like mental disorders that people are just. I don't know if it's more socially acceptable to say, because it, like in the past growing up, I mean, we grew up and got bullied, and when I was in middle school and high school, it was like, oh, you've got a mental disorder, and now it's more socially acceptable.
I don't think our bodies are meant to. One, it starts like
It's endorphins.
the medical industry has been a cartel since the Rockefellers essentially took control of the American Medical Association. Everything from, and I've been reading about this because we're about to have our third kid, and I'm over here thinking, you know, something doesn't feel right about cutting the umbilical cord right away.
Right, I just saw a
Right.
video on that, and
And that's what they do.
Yeah.
You know, they say
As soon as it comes out.
let them
say-
get the rest of the stuff that's in there. And it's just
And that's what happened with my second. The umbilical cord was around her neck, and they cut it right away. And apparently, the child doesn't need oxygen for more than
Right.
like 5 minutes
Right.
when it's first born. So that doesn't necessarily even matter. Like, am I going to take that chance when I see, because I saw her pop out and I saw the umbilical cord wrapped around her neck
don't
twice.
hear the crying, you're
I'm
like,
in,
oh,
I'm
God.
in panic mode.
Yeah.
Right, like I don't know if this happens again, I'm going to be, you know, making that executive decision, like, you
Sure.
know. It's just crazy. So like, but from that, right, you know, waiting 30 minutes to an hour till that umbilical cord gets white, and then you cut
Right.
it, and all the stem cells and all the nutrients and iron goes into that baby, to then shooting up a kid with artificial synthetic vitamin K, rubbing it on their eyes, and then shooting them up with some that has aluminum salts and mercury and aborted fetal cells, and introducing a new DNA into their DNA. It's such a, like, we allowed that to happen with my first kid, and she immediately went to NICU, and I didn't know what happened. The only reason I finally got woke about the shots is because at her 2-month appointment, she got the shots. You know, we're trying to be good citizens like we're trained to do. And she comes home and starts having myoclonic seizures right in front of me while we're playing on the ground, and like for like 20 to 30 seconds at a time, just like shaking her head, and just like phases out. And over the next 4 or 5 years, you know, she like gets overstimulated. We sense there may be some sort of developmental disorder. With our second, not a single shot, not even vitamin K, and she is the healthiest kid that I know in my entire friend group.
I think that's what's so scary, and that's what turns people, I think, on both sides, radicalized or not. I think that's what's so scary, is because we don't know. So you've seen it, you can see it, or you've seen it. So now
Experience it,
you've
yeah.
experienced it, and you know what to do. People who haven't, and they're like, well, no, but I have to listen. I have to. This is a doctor tells me this. We were just talking about this a few months ago, where it's like, how do you trust what you're being told?
And you can't. That's the craziest part about getting like a doctorate, or, you know,
Right.
becoming
Yeah, I have
a
to
doctor.
get a PhD. I have to get.
Yeah.
I have to get.
You got they are
gotta
like
get all this.
hurting herding these people through doctor school, getting them $250,000, $400,000, $800,000 in debt, and then they come out, and then they have this vaccine person come out, and they say, "Hey, you have to hit this quota for you to get bonus $30,000 this month," and then so this doctor is going to say whatever they have to say, because this vaccine salesman says, "Hey, it's all good. The insert's here. It's safe and effective. Just give that to him so that you avoid liability." And so, of course, this doctor is going to do that. And
Right.
so all that to say, to bring it back to the ADHD thing, there is another camp in the independent researcher world that is calling out all of these things going into kids, and, you know, the eczema the eczemas, the developmental disorders, the seizures, the ADHDs, the autisms.
That's
right?
one big one that I've seen recently that I mean, maybe I'm just blind to it, but was autism huge whenever we were little,
No,
or was
no,
or is there
never.
something
There was a
that
select
they're getting
few.
shots now?
It's always
and it's
been
like,
around. It just hasn't been as
Well, but
amplified.
obviously,
as,
you
as
know.
like,
But let's take it one step further. And this isn't a relative statement. When we were in high school, when we were freshmen, dude, when we were just hitting puberty, seniors look like grown ass men.
Oh yeah.
They have beards like you guys.
yeah, no, yeah.
You look at a senior now.
Yeah.
They look like kids. They're
They look
just
like
taller.
babies, yeah.
they look
Unless
like
you flip it
babies.
you flip it on the script and you see like the younger women. And now the younger women look like they're the 18-year-olds.
Yeah,
And it's like,
because
wait,
then they're getting fed
what is
birth
happening?
control.
Yeah.
And not only that, in the water, whatever that
Fluoride.
not
No?
just that, but most municipal water districts don't filter what is the residual of the hormone that's in birth control. So that is in now our water systems that kids
Are
are
you talking
actually
about like estrogen?
I can't remember what the actual chemical is, but it's whatever
It's a chemical that sparks estrogen, I think. Or
Yeah.
can,
yeah, it's an estrogenic
Right.
chemical hormone that actually
So you
goes
think that
through
it's suppressing the
when kids
testosterone
when
and-
girls on birth control are peeing, it's going into the water system, it's not getting filtered out, and then it's getting recycled
Right.
improperly, and people are
Right.
drinking it.
Right.
So like we are on full blown attack. So now you really makes you think, right? Because the church is like, oh, you're not born gay, but maybe
there is a medical aspect.
there
to
is a
it.
medical aspect to this that we're not considering, and we need more empathy. We need to explain that, because imagine, right, a kid pops out like this and is like, I don't understand these feelings.
Right.
You know.
Well, you know what's wild is you bring that up like in the water, right? Like about the idea of it living in the water or the chemical being in the water. I remember early on during the COVID days or the vid days, we'll say, I think it was the DHS, Department of Health Security or Health, whatever it is, published an article that was stating that they were tracking COVID levels in water. They were able to determine who wasn't like which parts of the region were going to get hardest by COVID because they were able to track it through their water
Oh, it
system.
wasn't getting filtered through.
It's not getting filtered. So, I mean, that would make sense, like what he's saying, where it's not purifying or filtering the water 100%, and these medications, and it's not just birth control. I'm going to say it's probably like diabetic medication, any other medication that you might be taking for whatever reason, HIV meds. If you're
There are
on those, like,
entire governments that are suing people like Bill Gates for introducing vaccines that are actually causing pandemics, because there is a thing as vaccine shedding. And I didn't believe in that until COVID happened, and we only got sick around our vaxxed friends during booster season.
Well, I just saw a video from Tyler Oliveira, which, I mean, it kind of coincides with this about the Detroit the Flint water.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to the neighboring towns of Flint and was comparing the people, talking to the people, and a lot of the people that were around Flint, not inside the city, they're just on the edge. They're like, oh yeah, look at our boys, look at our women out here, look how healthy they look. And then you go into Flint, these people who are bathing with it have eczema all over their and you can tell the difference of people who were raised in Flint versus the people that were raised just outside of it. And oh my God, it's way different. So I could totally believe.
Yeah.
I'll drink that Kool-Aid. I would totally believe that there's a lot of stuff in our water that's just not getting filtered out.
Watch where you're sourcing your
How
water for
do
that
you?
Kool-Aid.
How do you? We're not scientists. We're not, water specialists. But how would you assure yourself that the water you're drinking could be safe?
reverse osmosis.
Bottle?
There's a few things. So what's interesting about water is that it requires, like, it's good to soften your water.
Right.
Not only that, it's great to do like a reverse osmosis, where what people don't actually realize is that you have to remineralize your water to make it more alkaline, because just straight off of a reverse osmosis system, you're drinking distilled water, which is actually above neutral into the acidic territory.
Yeah.
So remineralizing it, there's an MLM out there called Kangen. I don't have one yet because the machines are like $3,500 to $8,000. But if you pass that RO'd, remineralized, softened water through something like that, it actually electrolyzes the water, which makes it more available to your cells, and so you can get hydrated faster. So,
if you're local to San Antonio, we've got people.
Yeah,
So just DM us.
I get
Yeah, no,
texts.
I actually
We know
I
all the
do.
Congo
That's why I
people.
segued that in there because I know people that have systems that are. I mean, yeah, they're going to be like $1,000, but like they're the healthiest that you can
Dude,
be
their
for
skin
yourself.
looks good.
Oh yeah, their hair looks good. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's wild though is like we bring that up and we're talking about like reverse osmosis and alkaline water. Like we purposefully drink only alkaline water, and we have several of our neighbors that actually drink from the faucet. And I hate to say it, but like they have medical issues now, and we're over here like, hey man, we haven't been sick, knock on wood, in like 2 years.
Dude, you're in a Kangen honey pot. You need to go get you a Kangen and start
Kangen, bro.
start pitching. Yeah, Kangen.
We went on a tangent about water. That's great. I like
kind
that.
of to wrangle it back into ADHD, where I was going to go with that is I feel like a lot of the attribution to ADHD, if we're going to kind of go out on a limb and say some of it could be medically induced, you could be born with it, and most of it's probably going to be caused by technology, right? The induction at a young age of those endorphins and getting that kick because adults or parents can't deal with their kid throwing themselves on the ground and don't know how to handle situations that it's just like, here, watch Bluey. Here, watch Spidey. Like, take my tablet, take my phone.
It's a
whatever to do to
distraction, right.
actually distract you and make you be quiet.
But I think that a lot of the things that are kind of pressed on kids, unknowingly to parents, because we just want to keep our kids safe. Like, that's in our heart. And it's like, let's put these shots in them or whatever. I do believe with my entire soul that at worst, or at best, it actually makes them neurologically intolerant, whether that be within the context of progression, or emotional control, emotional maturity. So I mean, just having the overstimulation of the nervous system and how it responds to these chemicals that are in these shots, I do really think that does have an effect. Like if you made out okay, and maybe you got your kid got the shots and had saline or a lower level of whatever is in that, great, but then there's those unlucky few. My nephew's one of them. He came home from the doctor when he was 3 years old, the brightest kid, dude, and legitimately started having massive fevers above 106, ended up getting what they just called Lennox-Gastaut syndrome, and began having anywhere between 5 and 25 seizures a day, and they said that he would die by the time he was 8 years old, but he was living in an actual living hell up until he turned 19 when he died. Literally that many seizures a day. And that's so wild. And even then, dude, me witnessing that, he was a vegetable and had to be walked and everything creased up. Dude, the most memorable thing that I'll always remember from that was that his body was so tensed up that you could audibly hear him gnashing his teeth from across the room. His teeth were bared down because he was just so fucked from what that was. And even to this day, his mom, my sister, doesn't want to admit that maybe she had I'm not putting the blame on her. I have so much sorrow for that situation, but again, she was trying to protect her kid. She imagine having that dude, if I trust a doctor, when just my kid having myoclonic seizures, I wanted to go back and do bad things to that doctor. I can imagine going to the doctor and my kid coming home a vegetable. Dude, I'm going jihad.
Well, and that's, I mean, you and I talked about this. That's why it's super important to actually find a holistic doctor, somebody that's going to be more of a naturopath and let you kind of carve your own destiny with your health, but be that support mechanism, not just push medication on you. And I think it's but I want to say something real quick. Is just that statement alone, it's so wild to see how many people are going to run to the comment section on being like, oh, you're an anti-vaxxer, like blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
Medications, medical is proven to
I
have.
will wear that.
Right. Like, it's just so, like, heartbreaking to know where we are as a society to not be able to support one's viewpoint and opinion because we're all
Or have your own identity.
we all have different experiences.
See,
right?
let me put it to you this way on a spiritual level. So yes, there are good things that came out. Let's think about penicillin. Amazing, right? Like there are things that God allows man to know, to do that's going to help other man. But what does the devil do? Turns everything, he perverts everything. It turns everything into an abomination. Turns anything and everything, into the love of money. Right, and so you got to have that discernment to understand where the buck stops and where it's getting out of hand. And if COVID didn't wake you up to that actually being a reality, man, and something drastic hasn't happened to you yet, you still got time.
Yeah.
Go join, like what I did right when my daughter started having I joined Facebook groups that had that talked about vaccine injuries, that talked about it wasn't like bashing vaccines. Like I'm still in those groups. I was reading stuff from independent researchers on X that were talking about how the Pfizer shot was causing turbo cancers. And like my sister, she got the COVID shot because she wanted to protect her son. She didn't want to lose her kid.
I think that was the fear tactic.
And now she has cancer. Dude, she was the healthiest. All of my brothers and I, dude, we got dad bods. We drink. My other brother smokes cigarettes all day.
Yeah.
And she was the healthy. She's been doing freaking Shanti exercises, and since that shit first came out like 20 years ago, and she's the one that got cancer. So it's like go join some Facebook, go hear from some other people, go ask some questions, go see some other people's experience, because I swear to you, you don't want to learn the hard way.
How can I ask? How do you? Because I've heard this issue from when we used to do Nico's podcast. How do you get around your second daughter? How old is she? Or child?
She's 3 now.
She's 3.
Yeah.
How are you going to get around the mandates when it comes to school and even extracurricular activities that your kid needs to have vaccines?
So that's gonna be solely dependent on the areas that you live in.
Really?
That's not something that I was really stressed out about, because that's why we moved to Texas. Even further on that, being that I lived in San Antonio, knowing that it's a predominantly blue city and that they're willing to mask their 5-year-olds when they're going to daycare, and then I grew up in Poteet. I knew only a little bit about Bernie, and then coming to find out, about Bernie, and moved out there and meeting the people out there, they don't roll like that.
Really?
They don't roll like that.
It's still
It's going to be very location dependent, and I feel like that has like an underhanded. I didn't take it insultingly, but I feel like if people hear country that don't understand what the hill country actually is, it's more of a traditional purist, like good food, don't stress out your immune system, good water. If you're in a third world country, okay, I can understand, maybe that one measles shot, the MMR shot. But even then, doctors are not saying, they're not letting those people know, don't take the MMR with the flu shot. There's just now posts coming out, oh shit, don't take the flu shot with any other vaccines. It could interact negatively.
Yeah, and they were giving them at the same time.
At the same time. And bro, this has been 50 years, bro?
Yeah.
I heard something funny that they were going to try to with Bernie. I know, and when I say country, it's because I have close connections in Bernie. I have family in Bernie, and one of the biggest things was as Bernie started to expand, the chatter was negative around the fast food restaurants that were getting built. Why do we need a McDonald's?
Right? That's how we are. It's
right, well, why did we need Taco Cabana?
There's a different kind of country that when you say country, that the outsiders will say, oh, so you guys are marrying your cousins, right?
Yeah, rednecks.
No, we're not. Yeah, that's not the type. It's different. It's small community. It's just. When you go out, you see the same groups of people, right? There was actually a great example 3 weeks ago. We went out to a brewery out there, and it's usually the same crowd. Always you can let your kids run around. You're not stressing about whatever. There was some random dude that was there, and he was there with a friend of a friend, kind of wilding out a little bit, right? And we just kind of like everyone just kind of had him on their radar, nothing specifically other than his energy. Come to find out, night's starting to close down. This girl her legs start getting real wobbly. She didn't drink that much. And we all looked at each other like, okay, now we need to watch over her. There's a high possibility she may have gotten roofied. So we all, it was just like this unspoken, like, hey, let's walk you over here. Let's go get the manager. You need an Uber. Is whoever, who were you hanging out with?
Yeah.
Who left and who's here? Who can take you? Who can go with you? Right?
We need more of that. We totally need not the.
As much
Okay,
as
hold on. Let me rephrase that. Hold on. Let me rephrase that.
Not the wobbly.
We don't need the wobbly,
Yeah.
the roofie thing. But we need more of a sense of community. It sucks that we've lost that over the years. You look at, it's going to be crazy. In like 50 years, you'll see people watching these old school movies of a dystopian past that is drives in the convertible over to like the drive-ins and people getting milkshakes together, and you never had to worry because your kids were out front playing with the neighbor kids. People are gonna be like, oh, there's no way that could ever happen. We genuinely do need more of that, and it sucks that we aren't in that community anymore that we can even have that. We're in this culture where we cancel anybody for saying things like, oh, we need more people to watch out for the women and the men. Like, I can't believe that we haven't even gotten a strike at all from, you know what I mean? Like, because we've said some things that I think that people would just not like. And it sucks because it's our opinion and they just want to cancel people for no reason.
And that's why we roll with Rumble, baby.
That's true.
Hey everyone, Ernest here from the Truth Disorder podcast. Our website is built with lovable.dev, and honestly, we couldn't be any happier. It's simple, it's fast, and anytime we need to make a change, it just takes a few seconds. There's no complicated setup, no headaches. So if you're looking to get your business online, your podcast, or even your brand, check out lovable.dev. You'll love how simple it makes building your site. Scan the QR down below to get started.
Well, and you know what like to add on to that or to piggyback off that, where this all starts, right? How we fix this solution is it starts
in the household.
It starts at home.
Yeah.
Starts with what Gary talked about. It takes two to tango, right? Mom and dad have to be on the same page. You got to reinstill those family values. You got to sit down at that dinner table.
Yes, that's a major thing is the dinner table. I'm looking up ReadySetParent like a few days ago. I hadn't looked at it up at all, but I saw that a lot of it starts at the dinner table. It's about expressing your feelings, talking to each other, and having that human connection. It doesn't have to be at your literal dinner table. It could be on the couch with each other. It could be in a restaurant with each other. But you guys are a community together. Your family is a community should be there for forever, right? And it starts there, talking about how your day was, about your struggles. And this podcast has changed me mainly because I start to look at more of that stuff. And I'm even talking to my wife now about our kids and how can we best set them up for their future and our future too. Because, a lot of divorces are going to happen around kids, around first years of marriage. And I don't want that. I love my wife. I want to get along with her. I want to be able to be on the same page with her. And it starts now. It starts having those conversations, the difficult conversations, as early as possible.
I think it's awesome that you figured that out already because, and this is advice for everybody out there because like yourself, it was me and my wife. We were newlyweds. It all starts with having that conversation. And I think as a marriage couple, husband and wife should have that communication with each other.
Yeah.
I think it's super important to your connection with your significant other that you ask how your day was.
Yeah.
How was work? How was, breakfast? Like whatever.
How was not work?
How was not work? Like, what do you want to do tonight? Like, let's sit at the dinner table and reminisce about what we want to do and talk about maybe our hopes, our dreams, our passions.
Yeah.
Let's reignite that love that brought us
Yeah.
together, because that's ultimately what makes your significant other fall in love, right? Is that, you're not just physically attracted, you're spiritually attracted.
I think we're in a day and age where we become complacent and lazy in everything, our relationships, our friendships, and everything. And we have to get out of that comfort zone of not being lazy,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I'm guilty of it. I'll come home and I'll just want to go play rematch or do whatever. I have my burgers. I'm bringing dinner home, and we'll go sit down and jump on our computers together. I'm guilty of it. I mean, you're making me
me too.
reflect now.
Yeah, me too.
I'm thinking about, yeah, you know what? Like, those conversations are super important, because if I'm having those conversations now, that means in 10 years, I'm going to be having those conversations in front of my daughter or my son.
You're going to be ahead of the curve.
And they're going to see mommy and daddy are having those conversations.
Yeah,
Whether we're upset at each other or we're not, we're able to communicate. We're not holding our feelings, and we're not harboring those things. And they can see a healthy communication relationship rather than an unhealthy one, and that's going to set them up for their future.
Yeah.
And so it starts with us. It starts right now. There's no better day than right now.
Yeah.
I've started on a personal
I got
note,
really deep. Sorry.
I've
That was
actually
good.
started like
Yeah.
so my wife and I, we're kind of going through this spiritual journey right now, where we're disconnecting technologies, making sure our son's not just seeing TV all day when he comes home from school. It's like, get out, get dirty, get scrapes, get bruises, play, have fun. But we're going through this like spiritual change right now, and one of the biggest things that I've implemented is like my daily affirmation to her. Right, just making sure, like, hey, great morning. Thanks for having breakfast with me. It was great. Like, we even, as a family, go drop our son off. Like, we have that luxury to be able to both get in the truck, have that discussion with him on his way to school. Like, hey, go have a great day. We both drop him off. We usually both pick him up if we're not busy, just to continue that connection and make sure that he understands that we're there for him. But I've started a daily affirmation with my wife, and I've noticed that, like, over the last week that I've been doing this, like, our connection seems to be getting stronger. It almost feels like we're on the same vibration, like we're on the same spectrum, because like
The science checks out.
the science, it's literally just like we're connected.
Yeah.
Like we're just now talking random, like having those conversations.
I got really into the self-help books at the beginning of last year. Real estate focused for sure, but one of the OAs at the brokerage was like, "Are you really like this?" Because I was talking to her about the conversations that I have with my wife, and I was like, "Hey, what's your word of the year?" And my word of the year for this year was perseverance, and it was interesting because I went to her and I was like, "Hey, what's your word of the year?" And she was like, "Are you really like this?" Like, what do you mean? She's like, "Do you actually have these kind of conversations?" Like, that's kind of weird. And I'm like, "Am I seriously being judged right now for healthy communication? Is it?" And I think that maybe I definitely was.
It's taboo almost.
Yeah,
Isn't that weird?
People are not used to it.
There's some people.
why?
I would think it's weird.
Yeah,
People
I
are
would think it's
weirded
weird.
out when you hold the door for them. They think
That's true.
chivalry's like. I mean, so we were on a road trip, and everywhere we go, like we'd stop, we'd pump gas, right? I'd hold the door for my wife. Usually, like if it's not somebody that's like a creeper, and I'm like suspicious of them, I hold the door for them.
Yeah.
Right, and they're like, "Thank you." I'm like, "Have a great day. Have a blessed day." And they're just kind of like caught off guard. They don't know how to respond to that because they're not like not exposed to it anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
gone.
So Ty, this one of my industry partners, his name is Ty the Water Guy. He introduced a concept to me. You know, Ty's a good dude. He introduced a concept to me that I thought was very interesting, and he says that every time he leaves the house, he started this a couple years ago, he hugs his wife, and they pray with each other, and they pray, that she's safe while he's gone, and that God brings him back home safe. And I don't know if it's, I almost feel like a coward, because it's something that I feel like is such a healthy introduction into a relationship, like just to bring that in. But I don't feel bold enough, I don't know what it is, like something, there's a voice, probably not a good one, that is like scaring me from doing that.
Something
Right.
I did early on in our relationship was, admittedly, it sucks, and we're close now, so I can admit it. I was having a fight with my wife, and she's very much the type to walk away, distance, and it's okay. Like, to each their own. You want to do what you want to do. But I said something I think that changed our relationship for the better. That was like, okay, if you walk away or I leave and I die, these are the last words that are going to be said. If I go out and get an accident or something happens to me or to you, these are going to be the last words. Are you sure you want that? And she was like, well, shit, no. And I was like, okay, let's sit down and figure it out then. What's going on? And it was one of the most grown-up realizations that I was like, okay, I can never leave this house and not give you a kiss, tell you I love you, and tell you I'll text you where I'm going or whatever, and be responsible. One of those realizations that just changed my life.
I'm going to use that strategy when my wife's not sharing her food.
Do you want to remember you not giving me that taco?
If you don't give me that last piece of bacon, how are you going to feel if fucking just fall out dead?
I wonder how many divorces have happened over bacon. Is there an actual statistic on that? Like
mostly
random
Muslims.
statistic?
I was gonna say, it's probably
Instantly bad.
Given the new invasion that's happening, I'm sure that's a trackable statistic now.
But
Speaking of invasions,
no, I want to touch on one more thing because before you move on, I'm sorry.
Then we're gonna talk invasions.
Sure, absolutely.
Let the ball guy speak.
It's good.
It's crazy. We gotta get that guy's name.
Sure.
Oh, here, let me pull
I
it
had a conversation with a new friend the other day. I'm not gonna say his name. But we were talking and we were going over relationships and like new friends and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, it's interesting because they're in the year where it was like 7 years into a marriage. I've always heard that was the most difficult. I don't know why. I've talked about finances with my wife and I'm like exhausted over it. And it's like, I think mainly because guys, we want control and we're adding in another thing and so blah, blah, blah. So I was like, man, got through a full year of engagement. That was tough. Got through a full year of being a long distance relationship. That was tough. And now a full year of marriage where everything that can go wrong has been going wrong. It's so hard, right? Health diagnosis is all this stuff, and so I was like, okay, year 7, that's going to be hard. What am I in for? And he's like, honestly, it just feels it's hard because it feels like you're just kind of roommates now, and you got to remember that this is the person you've chosen to be with, this person you love, and nothing can stop that. So you have to put that forward. And it's hard sometimes. And I was like, okay, well, shit, what do I do? How do I stop that from being hard? And he's like, you can't stop it from being hard. It's going to be hard. It's how you communicate that's going to be easier.
Respectfully, you got to eat the booty like groceries.
Go for the booty hole.
Why are you nodding?
Sorry, guys.
How long have you? I've been married 11 years.
No.
You're
my first marriage or second?
Well, second.
Okay.
Most recent.
So yeah, we've been together since 2018. Got married in 2021.
So 4 years.
Yeah.
Almost 5.
Almost 5.
Right?
More or less.
Yeah.
No.
So I just thought that was really
married.
interesting to hear
You're
from
engaged.
somebody.
Yeah, I'm getting married this year.
Oh, dude, you're looking at like a timeline of things.
Oh, dude,
Dom's over here just absorbing information.
Yeah, dude,
Just
I
like,
love this. This is awesome.
I'm gonna go call and hug my wife and pray with her.
Dude, so
Smack
we've
that
been.
booty.
I've been dating my fiance for 8 years. I just decided to put a ring on it last year, and then now we're getting married in March.
Okay.
So I'm
Have you
excited.
talked about finances?
Congratulations.
So we live together.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah, we live together, so I control all the finances right now.
Do you have one bank account?
No.
That's the hardest part.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
No.
No, Dave Ramsey is like such an advocate. That was the only thing I would not listen to him about. And the reason being is, one, I have business bank account.
Sure.
I have my
Sure.
bank account. We have a joint bank account. She has her bank account.
Yeah.
She can spend her money on whatever she wants because I know she will. The joint bank accounts for all the bills, all the stuff we got to pay together, or whatever the case may be. My business bank account is not getting touched by any of us, and then we have my bank account, which that's mine, and I'm using it for investments and stuff
Sure.
like that. So yeah, I won't.
The hardest thing is thinking that if at any moment anybody's in the negative and somebody else has to cover, that's the hardest. It's because like the debt starts coming, and I don't want to get into it, but it's like it's a very interesting conversation that you should have before it happens.
So this is actually dynamic that my wife and I have. Like she has an account that I made for her, and the feminists are gonna hate me for this, but it's like an allowance, right? And she handles the groceries.
As long as you communicate that and you guys are in agreement to it,
we're in agreement.
Fuck the feminists, fuck all the cancel culture bullshit. You have talked about it, and it's healthy enough.
She appreciates it because she's not worried about it. She knows that I'm working 3 times as hard, so she doesn't have to.
Yes.
And I'm not gambling our money away. And if I do gamble our money, I show her what my parlay is, and now she's rooting for it with me.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's cool that you bring that up, right? Because does your wife work?
No.
Okay, so that's great because that's
we tried it, but dude, being a mom is so hard, dude.
Well, exactly, and that's one of the most overlooked aspects of raising a family is the mother is now like inflation has just hit astronomical rates that both parties have to actually work, and the mom is no longer raising the child. The child being raised,
but it's been like that since Woodrow Wilson's cuck ass sold us to the Federal Reserve and implemented taxes. Bro.
Well, yeah, and they also unbacked the
dollar
bitch. By gold.
Talk about
gave the gold to the Vatican.
Oh, bitch ass Woodrow Wilson.
Bitch ass,
little
bitch ass dude. But I bet you his wife told him what to do.
Fucking
cuck ass bitch, bro. Like,
bro,
it's Woodrow Wilson's fault.
But no, I point that out because I think that I commend you for that. That's something really to be proud of. Is like, hey, I could keep my wife at home.
I'm not proud of having control of finances. I'm proud of not wasting our money.
Yes, and you're able to
because you can.
Yeah, I could.
Yes.
Oh, look at that new truck.
Yeah.
Big old jacked up truck. I need those tires.
Yeah,
especially in real estate where things can come astronomically for no reason, and you're working hard, and you get like amazing payday, and you're like, man, I worked 100-hour weeks. I did this. Still have that to pay off, but it's still saving for us.
Yeah,
I'm still doing this for our kids. I'm still doing this, and you're like, damn, I wanted to buy a new truck.
Dude, I'm 8 years removed from having the mindset of like, damn it, I'm due for a lap dance.
From Woodrow Wilson's wife. From Mrs.
Wait, have you seen any of y'all? I'm gonna change the topic a little bit. Have you seen young photos of Hillary Clinton?
No. What the?
Yo, look it up before you clown me.
Is it AI?
Did AI
No,
just like drop
AI.
their erotic feature already and Dom's like first subscriber?
No, so
Dom's on the wait list for that.
I think Patrick Bet David had reposted her photos. She was beautiful back then.
Yeah.
Turned into a hag now.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Look at her.
That's what happens when you drink baby blood and kill rivals.
Well, I think the Macron.
Oh my God.
She's gorgeous. She looks
batty.
like
No, I was talking about you saying the baby
She
blood and
looks
kill
like
rivals.
a young, innocent secretary.
Nah, dude, y'all don't know about that. Yeah, y'all don't know about that case where
She kind of looks like Sabrina Carpenter.
a little bit.
She was the defense attorney for a rapist pedophile.
Hillary Clinton?
One of her first big cases.
Oh, yeah, out in LA, I think.
Yeah,
Here's the thing.
Got him.
A lot of
off that.
psychopaths are beautiful. I'm just saying.
And then she actually murdered a bunch of people by not answering her phone.
It's insane.
It's wild, dude.
Yeah, she's pretty. She's pretty. It's hard to see in black and white, but
yeah. But I mean, I wish more households, like, not to get back on topic, I wish more households were able to actually do that, where the husband's the bread keeper, bread maker, bread owner.
But you know why we don't? Because we got a bunch of cuck ass beta males out there who are just working for some booty instead of earning that booty.
Listen, I'm trying.
You're doing good.
I'm trying.
Dom
Beta Dom.
is doing
Beta
good.
Dom.
Can we get a
One thing
hashtag
you gotta
Beta
know
Dom?
about us, we believe in Jesus, but we ain't Jesus. So we're gonna say some weird stuff sometimes because we're sinners.
As long as you believe Jesus is king.
Yeah, amen. So speaking of invasions, so this is the beginning of the.
Oh,
Yeah, you ready?
dang.
Hashtag fuck Larry Fink.
Is this the conspiracy or is this just the second?
Hashtag fuck Larry Fink.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say about Atlas.
Dude, bitch ass Fink. Hashtag WEF, BAF, whatever you want to hashtag this,
Cue
man.
rap song right
So,
now. There needs to be a song about this.
What? Larry Fink
fuck
grabbed the
Larry Fink.
reins of the World Economic Forum. You know that same global group that oppressed you during COVID. Yeah, so he now grabbed the reins, and I believe he has. He's the billionaire BlackRock chief also. So now he's like dipping his toes into actual global control. And this is an entire rabbit hole, right? Because he's wasted no time in pushing an agenda, and this is about to get insane, so bear with me here. He calls to ban private car ownership and phase out single-family homes. The billionaire BlackRock chief says the future is shared vehicles and high-density living, sparking outrage from anyone not ready to give up their car keys or their backyard. But guess what else BlackRock is actually doing? BlackRock and Blackstone just went beast mode on U.S. utilities. They're not buying tech startups anymore. They're buying that power that keeps AI alive. Why? Because not only is AI about to collapse America's power grid, ChatGPT alone consumes enough energy to power 1.3 million homes daily. We need 200% more capacity now. New plants take 5 years. So that's from Wiz of AI. Finally, on this, let's talk a little bit by this is by Fluent in Finance on Instagram. U.S. electricity prices are also at record highs. After your electricity bills doubled this year, it's about to double again because someone has to pay for AI. In the next 10 years, AI power demand will quadruple. AI data centers will use 1,600 terawatt hours of power by 2035. Charles, can you? Okay, never mind. That's 4.4% of all electricity on Earth. That is 4.4% of all electricity on Earth. If AI data centers were a country, they'd rank 4th in electricity use behind China, the U.S., and India. And lastly, BlackRock and Blackstone just bid $6.2 billion for Minnesota Power. And this is per Millionaire Tips on Instagram. They bid $6.2 billion for Minnesota Power, while Blackstone is dropping $11.5 billion on TXNM. Yes, Texas, New Mexico.
Blackstone or BlackRock?
BlackRock took
Okay.
Minnesota Power, Blackstone, TXNM. The move isn't random. AI data centers are devouring electricity. Here's one thing that I would like to say. This is my conspiracy theory, personal conspiracy theory that I've been tracking, that it's just been a part of me for almost a decade now. To me, Texas is the Alamo, and the rest of the world is Texas. If Texas falls, so does the world. And that's why that's their second move, is buying out the Texas, New Mexico energy plant.
You know what's wild is that you're talking about how much actual power they're using. Most people didn't realize how big these data centers are and how many servers are there until this most recent AWS outage, because the news actually reported on this. So AWS, which is Amazon servers basically, own a total of 38.2 million square feet in which they have their data servers stored in. There's over 50,000 data servers in this location that had the AWS outage.
And that ain't creating that many jobs, that's for sure.
A lot of square footage and a lot of computation power needed to run AI. And not just AI, I mean, multiple apps went down, right? It's like the free cloud servers that everybody uses, Snapchat.
Eventbrite.
Venmo went down.
Dude, our site
some
went
banking
down.
systems went down.
Yeah.
But it's cool that you bring that up because nobody realized how big these. I've actually seen them in person. It's freaking wild, dude. Like, even like, I mean, you're talking like data servers like 3 stories tall.
Yeah, I used to work in them.
And you're like, holy shit balls.
Yeah, I worked in them serving our country, and they are massive.
But that was my conspiracy, was like the AWS server going down was actually an attack on the American government because of the location that went down. They reported that it was a domain name server issue. I think there was more underlying cause to that because near where they went down, which is in Langley and Loudoun, where the data servers that crashed for AWS, CIA headquarters are there. There's a lot of self-defense government contractors headquarters there that actually use those data servers because it's within close proximity, so there's not as much latency, less likely to get hacked.
Unless you shut it down.
Unless you shut it down. What are your thoughts? Comment down below.
That's a great conspiracy. That's a great one, especially it being near Langley.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of independent journalists out there, dude. Honestly, I feel like this world is teetering, and if it wasn't for those independent heroes that are serving our world with their own obsession of personal research, we would have collapsed. That's what they wanted. Unfortunately, they had several. By they, I mean the puppet masters have several fail-safes in order to combat the delay and do what they do anyways. But just shout out to all of you independent journalists out there, all of you independent researchers, all of you independent mathematicians, statisticians. If you're doing something because in your heart you just want to get the truth out there, you are the type of people that we honor and we want to know. So thank you for what you do. Speaking of independent research, forgot to mention this during our vaccine talk, but Nicholas Holscher, MPH, we're digressing to the vaccine thing again. So he posted, allegedly, breaking, Henry Ford, vaxxed versus unvaxxed study found vaccinated kids had 453% more neurodevelopment disorders. 57% were chronically ill after 10 years. The Henry Ford birth cohort, N equals 18,468, tracked children from birth for 10 years. Vaccinated kids had 496% more autoimmune disease, 453% more neurodevelopment disorders, 329% more asthma, 203% more atopic disease. After 10 years, 50% of vaccinated versus 17% of unvaccinated had chronic illness. And finally, because you brought up the ADHD part, unvaccinated children had 0 cases of brain dysfunction, ADHD, learning disabilities, intellectual disabilities, or tics.
Until what age?
10. Like my
Because I would feel like that would be a responsible time because you brought up sports. Right, that would be a responsible time frame to be like, okay, let's get some vaccinations. But again, how do you know?
There's maybe this is a deeper question. If I was vaccinated and I had a kid, any of the
genetic abnormalities or mutations,
will that go to my kid?
I feel like the body heals itself.
You think so?
I think
even if you don't vaccinate this kid at all?
I think that the human body has such a remarkable way to heal itself as long as it's taken care of. And this is something that I've been seeing in these vaccine groups or these anti-vax groups, right? And like in the on Facebook and stuff, is they'll show like, hey, my kid got measles. And there's like the big measles. That's always the one they always go to, the measles thing, right? The pro-vaxes. And they talk about the experience, just had a light cough. It just looked bad. They were good after like 2 days or so. And so, yeah, I'm fully, I got a bunch of shots in the military, almost died from them, still didn't put it together. My wife, I think she was too poor, which is why she's probably also really smart. She was too poor to get those shots up until I think she was like in middle school, high school, when they were like, oh, HPV. So then they actually sent her to get her HPV, which now there's a bunch of stuff coming out about the HPV vaccine that's just awful. But then when she went for the next year to go back, they said, oh, the doctor didn't mark in your records that you got the HPV. You have to get it again within a year, right? And so you're supposed to get like concurrent, right? So they gave her before her time the same first dose and then restarted her clock type of thing, right? So, our 3-year-old is great. Like, dude, our 5-year-old, she still has a little bit of a tic. She gets overstimulated. Our 3-year-old.
Do you feel like, okay, like let's put science into it a little bit. Do you feel like, okay, your DNA, her DNA come together, they create a single DNA, and that right? So if you have antibodies for some vaccine, you would think that eventually this just gets weeded out.
But then it keeps coming back. So would that?
Well, right. What I think to his question is what I'm saying is like,
I think that
do
would.
you think it would pass down? Eventually, I think it would.
Teeter
It would
out,
pass down. Essentially, right?
Yeah,
and that's why
I'm genuinely asking
No,
questions.
and I
yeah.
agree. And that's what's weird about it is that after COVID, man, I'm starting to like really consider the possibility that these viruses might be man-made.
Right. It's more airborne, not like in the blood. More so like, hey, this is just getting you sick, and then it's just.
Well, and there was a doctor on Tucker Carlson recently. I'll have to go back and pull up his name. But that was one of the things that he mentioned in his interview to Tucker Carlson was like these viruses that we know today are coming out manufactured to target specific DNAs in people.
And I think that was the ultimate goal.
Yeah,
And that's what's-
We talked about that like
he
months ago,
mentioned
right?
something
That's a
about
whole rabbit
a
hole.
religion
Yeah.
of people that he believes COVID came out to basically target.
No, the
Not
opposite.
not target. Yeah,
No, not
So-
target. Like it target everybody else, but
them.
the Ashkenazis. Yeah,
Which is
the
wild.
European
It's
version of
it's
that.
like more and more often you like dive down these rabbit holes and you're like, am I in the fucking Truman Show? Am I in some dome that's just like we're just experimented, right?
Yeah.
Like in our
for control.
and I'm not trying to be sacrilegious at all. I believe in God. I'm not trying to be sacrilegious, but imagine we're just in a fucking petri dish and we are being controlled and experimented on every fucking day, and it's just like, holy shit! Because these data servers? Why not just dig down a shitload? And then I'm putting my data servers there, and then utilize something like solar farms to power those grids. Why are we paying for those data farms? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. You start to piece things together, and you're like,
I've said this on the podcast. I really do think that the ultimate goal is the control of power, and if we are on the beast system, that is going. Like, imagine if you are not tied to the beast system with your mark. You don't even have power at your house. Imagine our first.
Well, they
world-
created the divide already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, I
remember
mean,
when you
marriages broke up because husband's like, I ain't getting that crap.
Yeah.
Wife's like, well, you can't be around me because you're gonna get me sick. Now wife is sick because she took the you know what, and husband's probably living somewhere else.
And they're she's transitioning her kid because she hates him.
I remember the first question you guys asked me when I was on the podcast for the first time, and it was, "Do you think the world is flat?" And I was like, "What the fuck did I join here today?" And then now I'm like, "Dude, we're in a fucking simulation, right? It's just the craziest things are happening to us."
Yeah.
And I don't. Literally give me an answer.
Well,
give me a fucking true answer, right? Right? No one actually has the actual answers. These are a lot of the times. These are all speculation.
There's slanted studies.
Yeah.
Studies where doctors are paid, rooters claiming to be nonprofit, but then they have some sort of weird shell companies that's funding them.
Well,
It's
theoretically, because what I'm saying is theoretically, everything that you have may have had a source, but that source, we can't vet that source because that source, we don't know them. We haven't seen their studies. Without us actually sitting there, watching this happen. Like I heard some video that they're trying a new study for the cure for cancer in Los Angeles earlier this year, like in July or something like that. And I'm like, okay, well, I would love to trust that. I would love to know that my loved ones down the road potentially might have a cure for cancer because this is happening right now. How do I know that's actually happening?
I think
This is being fed to me from something.
I also believe that's my conspiracy as well, is that propaganda is now starting to come out because it's setting up for the Antichrist. How? Because what the COVID shots were by most of the manufacturers are lipid nanotechnology, which you can actually manipulate with electromagnetic waves. So like remotely. You can actually manipulate them. You can watch YouTube videos of clumps of lipid nanotechnology just responding
moving.
to different sounds and stuff like that. So with that, if you introduce that into the human system, and the human system is now essentially becomes an interdependent, that's a computer science term, not flexing, but just an interdependent with a source.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, the Antichrist, like if you are sick, if you have cancer, if you have AIDS, you have any of this stuff, we do have the technology of gene manipulation, even going as far as cloning, to where if you are part of the beast system and then the Antichrist is like, oh yeah, your social credit score is high enough, boom, snap of the finger, you're cured. To the person who is not familiar with Revelation prophecy, they're going to worship that person because that is the God they can see that they did not know was foretold.
So while we're on this topic, so I read an interesting article last night, actually, late last night. Something came across my feed, and this chick was like, did you know that Pfizer created technology that's used in cheese manufacturing right now? And I was like, wait, what? Like, and it got my brain going. So of course I naturally started going down the rabbit hole and looking up things and looking at resources. And I found this. It says Pfizer developed or helped commercialize a genetically engineered enzyme called fermentation-produced chymosin. I'm going to butcher that, FPC, that is used in cheese making. In the 1990, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved this bioengineered enzyme for use in cheese production.
I can believe that because scientists doing science, right? Creating something and then utilizing it for something else, right? You're like, oh, this is kind of cool. This can do this. Oh, well, this could actually make cheese do this. It lasts longer on the shelves for 2.5 more weeks. I could totally see that.
Well, hopefully it only affects American cheese because that's what I don't eat. That shit is an abomination to America.
What's funny is like when you're adding that in, I'm thinking to myself, okay, so how do you, after what we've talked about, water, food, vaccines, all this stuff, how do you stay completely off grid? You have to have your own cows, make your own cheese, right? You have to live off the land, kill your own animals. How do we know those animals haven't been tainted by the grains that were sprayed with drones or... Which are
actually, they're introducing like lipid nanotech into, I think, like pesticides.
That's what I mean is, how do we know? We can't actually know that unless we are raising animals ourselves, slaughtering animals ourselves, and doing all this ourselves and keeping all to ourselves. How do we know that what's true is true?
So it says today over 90% of all cheese worldwide is made using FPC rather than animal ruminant. So it contains the enzyme known chymosin, also known as renin, is an enzyme traditionally extracted from the stomach lining of young calves. It helps curd milk by separating curds from whey, which are solids and liquid.
It's a quicker process then. That's what that's for then.
Correct, but if they're doing this in cheese, who's to say it's not the same technology that we're now getting in these vaccines?
Well, yeah, sure. I would say
like you're creating you're creating enzymes to naturally purify a mold, because cheese is technically a mold, right? Like you're purifying it to make it easily for us to digest.
Man, dude, like. My head's spinning right now.
It says to stay. It's almost like we just have to stay in a constant state of detox. I've been watching a lot of videos of folks talking about like the natural state of the human biology is to essentially eat once every 3 days. The Bible even instructs us to routinely fast.
Yeah.
That is the fastest way to detox.
Have you ever done that, by the way?
Fasting?
More than 24 hours.
Yeah. So
because apparently there's a lot can happen.
Yeah.
After 48 hours or 72 hours, your brain starts to rewire itself.
Yeah.
And you start to have this mental clarity that you never had before.
And apparently, I
just don't know if the headaches. I don't know if I could last.
I haven't done an actual 24-hour fast, but I've done intermittent fasting for the most I've gone is about 18 hours. So I almost hit that 24-hour benchmark. but by 18 hours, dude, you're fighting.
I will
You're right.
I will give you personal testimony that within the last month, I don't like to talk about fasting because the Bible says not to talk about it, or not to show that you're fasting, not to do it so that, because that's what the Pharisees and Sadducees would did. You know,
Right.
they would mope around, and you would know they're fasting because they're just in a
Low
bad
energy,
mood and
yeah.
low. Like, oh yeah, I'm fasting for God. Look at me. But God says when you fast, put oil on your face. Be you and don't, because your reward will be if you're doing it for men, the reward will be for men. If you do it for God, then God will reward you. So I'm not saying this to get reward by anybody, but just hopefully to positively influence. Based on my own testimony, I was having some internal struggles with some decisions that I wanted to make for myself. So I purposefully fasted for about 3 days. On the third day, because I felt like I was struggling with hearing God's voice. And I promise you, on that third day, followed Matthew 6:9, went into my closet, I turned off the light, and just prayed. And I felt my spirit buzzing. I heard a loving voice clearly. And I never hear anything as clear from the Holy Spirit unless I'm in a fasted state. So to answer your question, that 3 day, that they say to build up to it, right? You do your 3 day. I haven't done anything past a 3 day, but the impressiveness of what I felt during a 3 day has me flirting with the possibility of going past that. And there are people that do that and that say the exact same thing.
Haters are going to say psychosis.
Say what you want, brother, but man, you don't knock it till you try it.
It's funny.
gotta be hard.
It's funny that we're talking about fasting too, because I saw
Water and electrolytes, though.
Yeah.
I read a
That's fair.
I read
bone
a
broth.
article from a doctor who held a lot of credits and wrote a lot of published a lot of articles and studies, but basically said that like the human body is designed to eat like once every 2 days or something like that. Because it puts us into this cognitive mental state when we fast, that our bodies are designed to basically fight.
Heal and recover.
It heals our body.
Yeah.
That's why she says, one of the questions in the article was like, do you ever wonder why your body repairs itself when you sleep? It's because you're not eating, you're not drinking, you're at rest.
Every
right?
time you eat, you are putting your body in an inflammatory, stressed out state in order to digest food. So by fasting, you are, going through the stages like that they say it's one of the most effective ways to treat cancer as well.
And that's what she was
Diabetes
saying.
too.
Diabetes, yep.
That's what she was saying is like,
Didn't somebody cure their own diabetes by going on like a 3-week fast?
It was longer than that.
Yeah, it was
They
wild.
claimed no. It was like it was consistent. It was like a 3 weeks on, and then they ate only vegetables or something for like a week, and then went right back on it, and they cured diabetes.
And beef broth.
They say, I don't know if that's an actual thing, but I believe it. Your body heals itself when you're fasted.
Well, and that's what she was saying is she went on to say, like in the ancient days, like you ever wonder why these soldiers and men who fought were always so like muscular and stuff? It's because they actually were fasting and they put their body into that ketosis state, and then when they would eat nutrition, right? They would eat meats, like red meats, things like that, to actually give their body the nutrition it needs for it to compete at a full scale.
And the interesting thing about eating meat is that that's one of the only things that your body will be honest with you about, that you're actually full.
Right, satiation.
Like you are satiated. You cannot eat anymore.
Right.
Everything else.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you keep going over eating, like you're just like throwing up. Like,
It's the
meat
first time
is
in
the
the
only
podcast
thing.
history that I've actually related to exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yep.
Now, ketosis is it can be very demanding on your body. So, red flag, if you're trying for keto, do it in the right way, because if you don't, you will ruin your body.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
But I was going to touch on something about what you do put in your body. It's interesting that we were talking about all these drugs and we're ingesting all this stuff, and it's not funny, but it's hilarious.
Funny, but not funny.
No, it's hilarious that
if you know, you know, but you know.
all these people were vaping. We didn't know about
The lung issues.
popcorn lung,
Yeah.
right? But yet, and you saw all these studies that are like, don't vape, don't vape, don't vape, don't vape, and it's from big cigarette, Marlboro, It is definitely from those companies that are like, don't vape, don't vape, don't vape. This will happen to you. But we didn't get anything. And the entire world took fucking COVID-19 vaccines in under a year.
And
isn't that fucking insane to you?
do you guys know any cigarette smokers that were not sick that got COVID and died? I don't. And the reason is because
Cigarette workers? What is?
cigarette smokers.
Oh, smokers.
Something
So-
with the nicotine.
So so nicotine produces a naturally occurring chemical in your body called niacinamide. Niacinamide, as far as I understand it, is what your body produces in order to allow your cells to recover and take in nutrients.
Huh.
So people that were at an elevated level of niacinamide, or who were taking stuff like niacin flush, the non-flush stuff is awful for you. Don't ever take that. But the niacin flush, that's how folks were actually able to recover quickly or not
Which
even
is
get
interesting
sick.
because COVID-19 is a respiratory infection.
It's not. It's actually a neurodegenerative infection.
Ah.
Yeah.
Well, then why would it be hard to breathe?
Because that's how your body's just responding to
Your
it.
brain is just.
I mean, it's affecting everything, but primarily it's neurodegenerative. Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Because
It's
that's
your
all I
cells-
thought was like, okay, well, I mean, smokers. I mean,
Yeah.
you would think that they would be the first ones to go because it's hard to breathe.
Like we go there instantly because of what we were portrayed and
yeah.
told by the medical industry. Like,
Yeah.
oh, so and so got COVID, ended up with the pneumonia. Well, the pneumonia was a secondary infection caused by the neurologic. What you just
So that was from the fluid in their lungs, because when people were admitted, the NIH protocol for people admitted for COVID
Remdesivir.
was to stick them with
What's that?
intubate them,
More time?
and
Clip that.
That's how I brush my tongue.
thumbnail.
They would intubate them, and then they would
Double
also
fist.
give them remdesivir, which would then eventually flood their lungs, their kidneys, and so a lot of these folks that were intubated given remdesivir would actually die from organ failure. But then it would just still be listed as COVID,
Right,
because of
right.
the money that they were getting from the government for labeling as a COVID death.
Yeah, they were labeling car crashes if you had COVID in your system as a COVID death.
COVID-related. Yeah.
Government funding.
Crazy.
And they
dude.
weren't even regulating the false positives or anything like that. So
You know, it's wild because my son was born during COVID.
so is my daughter.
And I remember, like, it was the wildest thing, right? Like, my wife had a little cough, right? After she gave birth, she had a little cough, and she's in recovery because there were some complications. And I remember she asked for an allergy medicine. She said, hey, my allergies are kicking up, super allergic to dust or whatever. So they COVID tested her. And I'm sitting there in the chair like, hey, you gonna COVID test me? No, we don't need to COVID test you. I'm like, dude, I'm running all over this hospital, going to the cafeteria, and you're gonna only COVID test her. But it was just so wild that, like, they were trying to get those numbers up as much as possible.
Just the fear tactics by actual medical professionals, dude. This doctor, worst freaking, what delivers babies again?
OBGYN?
Oh, yes, OBG. Worst. If I could think of her name, I would totally blast her right now. But she, like, first kid, like, she has her.
We don't dox on this podcast.
Yeah,
by
I
the way.
dox.
It's a fake name.
Fuck, I'll
Fake name.
swat
Fake
that
name.
bitch. Swat her.
Oh my
Anyways.
God.
Dude, that's how. But listen, this is what she
Monetize
did. Dude.
now.
This is what she
Can't do
did.
that.
My wife is sitting here struggling. She's got her mask on because the doctor said she had to have a mask on, and I had to have my mask on. And she's sitting there trying to breathe. If this is for 2.5 to 3 hours while she's in labor, and several times, not only did she have her hand in my wife like this and was gossiping about office stuff for 1.5 to 2 hours, but every time that my wife's mask came off of her nose because she's struggling to breathe, she would correct us, and then anytime I gave any pushback, she threatened to call security on me. So that's why I'd swat that bitch.
Well, and that's what I mean. The
That is medical malpractice.
the hospitals were wild.
Yeah, what
during
hospital?
This one up here in Stone Oak.
Baptist, Methodist,
Methodist.
Stone Oak Methodist.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hospitals were wild. Like I said, they
We
put us.
did St. Luke's but the second one, awesome.
They
Devil's
put,
advocate here.
Dr. Banner, you're amazing.
What if? Well, okay. What if it comes down from now the whole gossip bullshit? I can totally. That's fucked up. But I would imagine that it was coming down from the top more so for getting funding in.
Well, 100
right? So it's
yeah.
like your instructions is to, if this happens, you do this.
I don't give an entire chocolate fudge sundae, David.
Well-
where I don't care. I don't care who was the president at that time. Donald Trump. I don't care if Donald Trump walked in that office and says, "Oh, whatever," like whatever. You know, it's like
Put a mask back on.
We got to put your mask back on because everybody's gonna die if you don't put your mask
And
back
this
on.
baby's gonna come out huge.
It's a great mask. Lovely mask.
Great baby.
gonna be a great
Biggest
baby.
the biggest mask.
baby.
Some
That's
say
why
it's
the
the biggest mask I've ever seen.
That's why the medical
you.
industry
Thank you, guys.
lost so many, so many
You guys
nurses.
get it.
Was because of the medical demands that came down, and so many medical professionals lost their jobs because they went against the will of
Yeah.
That's
big
true.
pharma.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, like traveling nurses, I mean, it was always a big thing, but it became even bigger during COVID
Yeah.
because of the churn rate that happened within these medical facilities, losing nurses, losing doctors. There's a
Timing
doctor
out, people
out of
working, like, 100
Houston
hours.
that wrote articles and published articles from her findings, and they basically shunned her. Like, they kicked her out of her hospital, they hit her with gag orders, they hit her with a bunch of stuff.
You know
Come
why,
to
dude?
find out,
You know
she
why?
was right.
Too many cucks, not enough heroes. And hopefully one day when I have a tombstone, you guys make sure that it says, in a world full of cucks, he was a hero. Because that, like, there are people that actually
I'm gonna write that down real quick.
on the other side of
Document
it.
that.
On the other side of it, there were people that were giving saline instead of shooting up people with this untested gene therapy.
You know what we should do? We're going to start a TikTok shop. We're going to make a t-shirt, and it's going to say, "I'm not a cuck, I'm a hero."
That's not catchy enough. We'll talk about that offline. We'll go
Yeah,
back to
well,
that.
offline. Well,
Offline,
offline.
offline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we good?
Merch coming soon.
Well, hey, I appreciate you guys hanging out, and happy 10,000.
Happy 10,000.
Actually, I think we're probably at
10,000.
like almost 11,000 now.
Oh,
Yeah,
we
you
are
are.
at 11,000. Let's check it.
Congratulations to everybody.
Yeah.
Wait,
Cheers
should
to you
we
all.
read some of the comments that we're getting? Do we want to, like...
Do we got time?
Do we run a read comment? We got 4 minutes. We got 4 minutes because we got more comments coming in.
I guess so.
So let's talk about digital. No, it's like, do we want to go to the bald comment? Do we want to go right to the bald comment, or do we want to
Let the ball guy speak.
we want to let the
Listen,
bald guy
bitch.
speak?
Okay, first of all, I'll let him speak when I want to let him speak.
We'll let
all right?
David rant on this for a second, but
It's called teeing him up. All right, you've never played golf apparently. And for all you assholes who didn't understand what was happening, that's why I said it. There you go.
Yeah, you sure
So
got him.
coming
bitch.
from
Beta cuck ass
JME
bitch. Got you, I got you. See
and
it?
the
See how I tied it
profile.
in?
Not the followers.
I see how I
bro.
tied it
Yeah,
in?
I'll give you a dab just
The,
because my boy.
the one guy. The one guy.
Yeah,
The one guy.
Hey, he's still following. If he's still following, if you ain't following, you ain't getting no grace in this house. But if you follow,
actually
you
Yeah,
get
true,
some
true,
grace.
true.
girl.
Okay.
It's JME. That looks like a female profile photo there. JME the Dream says, I like, and this is on the topic of 17 countries implementing digital IDs. I like how the bald guy was like, dude, shut up, let me talk. PPTY buyers, which sounds like a real estate agent maybe.
Probably.
Our client.
Or maybe.
One
Investor?
of the two. Exactly. The guy is playing around like a kid while the bald guy is trying to give valuable information.
Man, going after.
No, I'll be
It's
respectful
crazy.
in this answer, by the way.
crazy.
I'll be respectful in this answer. Okay. Didn't ask.
I mean,
Truthfully, my whole purpose behind asking you what that was I know what digital ID is for like the airplanes and for lower stuff like that. I wasn't sure if you meant nationally or globally.
Oh no, I didn't take it.
So-
I actually love that you asked
I
because
asked
not
it
everybody knows exactly what it is.
exactly
And the
why
fact
I
that
asked
they
it.
may have said that is because they also didn't know.
Exactly why I asked
in,
it.
In your history as a streamer and influencer, you know that the best content has the most anticipation
Yeah.
and tension.
Yeah.
And so that just kind of built a little anticipation, and we're just out here making
Genuinely
content as we
wanted
can.
people to understand where you were coming
That's all it
from
took,
because they may have had B and C, they didn't have block A.
We got one more, not on the bald guy topic anymore. That was just the one.
We can stop saying bald guy now.
We can clip that.
Chioma.
Let's go back and clip that and we can actually
Yeah, we're just DM them.
share that. yeah.
Chioma says, imagine how we post things on TikTok talking about the truth of things. With this social credit score, imagine how much more they can control and what information is talked about. Uncle Albert said, yep, sharing info on internet won't be allowed with a digital ID.
Unless you have a high enough social credit score
was
and you
gonna-
say what they
yeah.
want them to say.
Yeah.
And
I could think that too.
perfectly imperfect 222 responded, facts, because people will be scared to even talk about it.
No. People are scared to talk about it now. Not when there's digital ID. People are scared to talk about it now. That's why you see people out there right now who are scared to say they're conservative or Republican or even Democrats. Because if you say it, you are now tied to everybody that said it. And it's like, oh, well, this guy said that. Fuck him. Like, that's not okay. That's why I touched on cancel culture, because it's like, bro, you're allowed to have your opinion. I'm not going to, I truthfully, I will never judge you for having the opinions that you have. Everybody here.
100%.
I will never
shouldn't.
judge you, because that's your opinion. You formed after a lifetime of being alive. You have formed that.
No, but also helps that I'm right.
But couldn't we call it what it is and just say, like, the people that will that will publicly,
If Ernest is trying to say something, don't trust the pronunciation. Trust the content.
publicly shame you for what your beliefs are? We'll just call it what it is. These people probably don't follow religion or are not Christians because
Well, that's not, hold
you're
on.
taught not to.
Hold on,
I don't want to put them in that camp.
Hold on.
No, 'cause
Okay,
we're
so
all learning. We're all on this journey
some
together.
some people are
We're
given
all sinful sinners.
some people are given the information that they're given, and I can sympathize with people who are not given the information that we have been given, i.e., God
Or found.
right? Or yes,
But that's
absolutely.
the problem with society is people take what they're casted and don't actually do their own research.
Chase discernment. I do think there is a true value. What you guys are speaking on, there is a true value. And if you have the faith, you understand this. And if you have a relationship with the Word, it sharpens this discernment. There is a true value in divine wisdom. I truly do believe that God tells us stuff and on what we're ready to be able to bring through us as a vessel. I do think we do receive things divinely.
Well, and to like my point last week when we were talking about like how we found our churches, one of the things that I really kind of gravitated towards was the idea that when I found my church, I knew it was my church because the pastor said, take what you're learning and go and research it. Go and read the Bible. Go and actually read the scripture and listen to what it tells you.
I think to my point, though, is that some people aren't given that access. That a lot of people grow up and they're not growing up in churches. They're not growing up in a family that has access to this information. And so they form their opinions over time. Maybe it's 5, 10, 20 years, and now they have all these opinions of everyone else around them. They haven't been given the access to learn about Jesus. They haven't been given the access to learn about Republican stuff. They've not conservative stuff. They haven't been given the access. And so the only thing that they can do is fight for what they believe in, and they believe in what they've been told for their whole lives. And that's why I can sympathize with it, because it's like, okay,
Yes,
you can see this, you've believed this your entire life, but you see an opposition, and now it's like, okay, I don't like
the
that.
enemy, yeah.
That's not normal. That's not my normal.
Yeah. I was blind, but now I can see.
Right.
Well, and if you have
Well, that's if they accept that too. And so
that's
all
the
we can
beauty-
do is to show them why we believe it, why we do this, why I believe in
But
God,
you
or
also
why.
have to live it, and that's
But-
the
Right.
hard part
But
too,
get
right?
the access to the actual resources, because I mean we're talking about not actually having access to it. Most of it is actually settled with technology, right? Most everyone has a cellular device. Most everyone has access to the internet nowadays.
And the buck stops at Google.
And the buck stops at Google.
bu-
It is
the
only
buck
believable
stops-
though because you can read something off of Google and know that's kind of, I don't like that. That's kind of weird. And somebody who's learning about the Bible for the first time I can see that. I can see how somebody would be like, okay, that's a little weird. And it's not until they truly feel it that it's not weird.
Well, you could go into Barnes and Noble and read books for free.
Right, but what I'm trying to do is I'm giving an olive branch to the people that are out there that could not see it in themselves, whether they read it or not. I can read fucking Twilight tomorrow, and think vampires are fucking real. You know what I mean? I'm giving an olive branch to people out there that maybe have read this and they're not fully in it
Yeah.
because they just don't. That's not who their past was.
Well, I got the perfect solution.
Here we go.
If you have a cell phone, you have TikTok, follow Truth Disorder, like, subscribe, comment. You heard it here first.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
I think it's a great reaction. Honestly, the comment there, I would love for them to hear that and actually fully believe it, because what we're trying to do genuinely for me at the most is trying to discern what is true, what is false, and make my own opinion on it.
And I think that's what we're all trying to do, right?
Unless you are a cuck-ass beta male who doesn't follow us, we are going to give you grace and we're going to love on you.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
Peace.